Hello and welcome back to another Potential Pick episode in review. Here we are back again with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We just got to see episode 5, dubbed Truth. This is definitely the penultimate episode of the 6-part series. So we, of course, had that very intense ending last week where we saw John Walker just obliterate that guy with the shield and him just standing there with the blood on it. So, of course, we were like, that was intense. So Here we go, Taylor. We got into Truth. What were your thoughts going into this episode?
I was just wondering, mainly like what's going to happen? Like, what is the fallout going to be like? Because the whole world was watching and everyone saw Captain America just turn a guy into a meat pie. So, it was like, this is how they're going to, come back from this. And I think what's interesting, and we'll talk about later about this episode, is this series really taps into what the world is like today. Even though it's in a fictional version of our world, there is a lot of themes of racial injustice and representation, and what does the stars and stripes, or what does a flag, what does a symbol represent? So I thought this was really this is definitely a deeper show than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more action, and I love it. But yeah, right off the bat with this episode, we had this epic fight with faux Captain America and Bucky and Sam, which was a brutally intense fight.
Yeah, this was an awesome fight. This was well choreographed, and we were looking forward to this. We knew this was going to happen at some point. It was teased with that little trailer after episode 4 of John going, "You don't want to do this," and Bucky kind of taking a second, going, "Yeah, we do." So yeah, that was a great fight, and of course, trying to win over the shield. The shield really it's more than just a weapon. It is that symbol, and in the hands of John, it's not the symbol it's meant to be. It's a force for evil. Of course, because he's got that serum in him and it's tagged into his, darker side. So It was a great fight. It definitely was interesting, though. It just made me think a little bit of God of War. I'll go into why this in a second here. When John ripped off the wings of Falcon, which was a very just like impressive, you think those things are pretty indestructible, but he just tore those off like a poor butterfly, getting its wings ripped off. It made me think of the newer God of War when you fight what are they called, the those warriors with the big wings, and
Valkyries.
Kratos, the Valkyries, there you go. And he would literally rip them off at the end to defeat them. I was like, that was kind of a God of War mood right there. But they did manage to break John's armor. It looked like they hurt John's armor, I guess, at some point. So they did finally knock him down. And it was I thought it was a very powerful moment that we've always wondered, is Bucky just going to, take the shield and be like, if you're not going to do it, I am. No, he threw it at Sam and was like, give him a look like, take this,
this is yours. Yeah.
Don't do that again. This is what happens when you don't take the shield. Look what happened. So that was a very powerful fight. And that really was our only action sequence for this episode. The rest was a lot more than I wasn't quite thinking was going to happen, but it kind of played into, we understand that the final episode is going to have a lot of battle moments, I'm sure. So first thing I want to kind of tap into was Zemo. We knew that Zemo pieced out in the previous episode and where he went, and we got this kind of little goodbye moment for him. I don't know if he's going to show up in the last episode, but it made me wonder, is he being set up to be in Black Panther 2? Because he's going to go off to Wakanda, and if the timeline is flowing, it should be that he would be in Wakanda for that sequel.
Well, I think they said they're taking him to the Raft, which is like in the Marvel universe, it's like that floating.
Isn't that the Spider-Man prison?
It's the same thing in Civil War. Remember where they all were in prison?
Oh, in that water prison.
So
right?
basically, it's in the Spider-Man game, it's the same thing. So in the Marvel,
same thing, right?
I don't know what it stands for, but it's like this ultimate security prison. So
ridiculous aqua fortress of turmoil.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I just wonder if we're going to see Zemo again. Daniel Bruhl.
I feel like there's no way we can't bring him back. This was a great for him to come back. He just really ate up the scenery with this role. So I'm glad they didn't close the books on him forever. Hopefully not.
Yeah. they didn't kill him, and that's what Daniel Bull said in interviews before. He said it's always a good sign if they don't kill you. That
Yeah.
means that you could always come back. So hopefully we will see him back. And again, we're not really sure yet if this is just a one-off series or this will have a second season, or eventually these characters back in movies. I mean, they're definitely not done, and I have a feeling we're going to get Sam fully embracing the Captain America Falcon combo some
Hmm.
point in the last episode.
Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon. I mean, that's a good term.
Yeah.
I want to give props here to Wyatt Russell, who's playing John Walker in this series. I thought a really great scene was him in front of that kind of board of directors, kind of the military. They were essentially, this is that point where they have to own up that, okay, this man is definitely not following.
This is definitely not our Captain America.
Yeah, so they're saying you're going to be discharged. You're not going to be fully to the point that you'd be, put in jail or anything, but you're going to have no benefits. You won't have
Yeah.
any medals. Essentially wiping his entire credibility, gone.
Yeah.
And this is powerful moment where he's yelling at them like, "You made me," which was such an interesting throwback to think of. Steve was made by the U.S. government with the serum, and of course, turned out to be this great hero. And in the same way, John's mentality has always been doing what you know, military people have told him to do.
What his country's asked of him.
He's been a dedicated
Mhm.
soldier,
Yeah.
but taking it to the extreme. So
I would
that
have
was a
liked
very
if
powerful scene.
I little liked when he was like
Yeah,
slamming down. It was almost like little
little
Hitler
Hitler-esque,
esque, you know. But I would have liked if
Um,
they was slamming down, like you looked and there was like a big like dent or like something in there because of his super
yeah, I mean,
strength.
we don't really know still where his strength lies and how much the serum continues to be in him, but
Yeah.
then we got our. This was the only part of the episode so far that, really the whole series. I went, huh? We got a random Julia Louis Dreyfus popped into this to be this character that had kind of purple hair and was like, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing. Call me. So it was like, okay, and left him a card that had nothing on it. So from what I've been asking other friends around, there's
Mhm.
been a potential building to a thing called the Thunderbolts, or some kind of like anti-Avenger group, maybe a group of our villains, our rogues gallery. So
Yeah.
curious to see if she'll be in the last episode. That was so out of the blue, but
Yeah.
we're definitely not done with this faux Captain America, for sure. But then,
Yeah.
a good bulk of this episode, Taylor, was really a lot of kind of history and bonding between Sam finding some answers, and of course with Bucky on the boat. That was kind of
It was
just
really great to see them bond in this episode. Like this was the highlight of their, this buddy cop. Like this is kind of like in the buddy cop film where they kind of everything kind of comes to head. Like you think Lethal Weapon and all those films.
mhm,
This was that moment, and I love, of course, they get a great training montage scene, which
with the
every action
shield.
movie, yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
I just love the again that community aspect when he calls in all these favors and all the people come to help them with their family's boat, and I love with Bucky like flirting with his sister, like, hey, don't talk to my sister.
yeah. Don't talk to my sister. Great, trope you see in a lot of these kind of action movies where I think something like the Fast and the Furious movies has stuff like that. It's just always, he's probably actually happy that maybe she's getting attention, but he has to show that brotherly side of don't, because he
Yeah,
knows who Bucky is. And something that I think they've been really doing well for each other is they've been kind of helping each other along the way to understand who they truly are. And, Sam telling him, look, you've been doing these things, you've been an Avenger, you've been doing this, but you're not actually doing anything that's helping you forget your past. You
yeah,
have to actually go make the people that you hurt feel better, which we know is going to lead to, we're going to get in the last episode. He's going to go talk to that Japanese guy that he killed his son. We're going to have a
yeah.
moment like that. It's going to be very emotional, I'm sure, but really been impressed with Sebastian's work in this show. I mean, he's really got to show a lot more of Bucky and the emotional side. So, but I was really impressed, you speaking about this show really being grounded in today's world, with racial themes and themes of silencing people and stuff. We got another great scene with Sam going to try to find answers with that guy that was also a test subject with
He was one of the
serum.
super soldiers. Yep.
And just a very powerful moment when he it was very true to think that there's people in this world that would not accept a black Captain America. And this whole show is kind of in this current time where we're still seeing almost every week seeing someone get killed or something like that. And it's
Well,
just
and it was a great
it's
moment when
hard,
Bucky was
Yeah.
like him and me and Steve and I we didn't get it. We didn't realize the gravitas.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
but then again they came from such a different time that there had so much had gone on in the world that
Mhm.
they had no idea what that really meant. And it really shows to Sam, like this is something I wasn't taking lightly. It wasn't something I gave up easily, but it definitely gave you a really good, better insight into both these characters. And yeah, all intents and purposes, what a great episode! I really loved the banter, the action, and just leading up to. It's going to be. I mean, we know there's going to be not many resolutions, but it's going to be what's going to come next. And speaking of what's coming next, we had finally of all these episodes, we didn't have any real mid credits or after credits. We had this really great, intense one where we have John Walker is making his own shield, Captain America shield, which was kind of like, okay, this guy's lost it.
Yeah, but like out of what? It just looks like metal. I don't think it's gonna be as strong as the vibranium one, but I mean, if it's in a way where it's if it's really thinly, it could be chopping heads off. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to have a lot of great battles in the last episode with the Flag Smashers, and then of course we're going to probably have a great, uh, final fight potentially with John Walker, and Bucky will be back in the fray, and Sam's going to have some new upgraded tech with the Wakanda
Yeah, which we didn't see
themed
yet. So
Captain America, Falcon. Who knows what? It's going to be a
yeah,
whole thing. So very excited to see the final episode next week.
the American
But
Falcon. That's what you should call him, the
is that the name?
American Falcon. That's
Oh,
what you
that'd
should
be
call it. That'd be a
that'd be
good
a good
one.
name. That'd be a good name.
So
So we're looking forward to next week. Let us know what your thoughts were in this episode. A lot of great stuff happening. This show has just been so impressive. I'll be so sad to see it go, but hoping to see what it could allude to in the future. Knowing that Loki's going to be its own entire different show, and then by the summer we'll start getting our movies back going. So a lot to look forward in the MCU, but this has still been such a great show. So can't wait to see what happens next week.